Hey guys, this is North back again with another video. Today's video I'm coming to you with the last installment of the series I called The Plugs I Met. This is just a series where I was just showing some of the fragrances that I picked up that I got for more than 50% off. So everything in this video will be something that I picked up locally and I ended up getting them more than 50% off the retail price. So this will pretty much be the end of it, just because it'll become redundant as far as the brands, and also if the brands are going to be repetitive, it's going to be a limited amount of things that I'll get from them anyway. So this will be the end of the series, so let's go ahead and get it going. The first three fragrances I want to mention are from the house of Cartier. I haven't been a fan of Cartier fragrances. I did have like Oud and Amber. I wasn't feeling that. I think I had like a lot of samples of Oud and Oud. That one was okay, but it wasn't the type of Oud that I'm accustomed to, more fecal, animalic. So when I saw a couple of videos where people were talking about this Hours line, Lazur line, I decided to try to pick up on a couple of them. So that's what I did. The first one I want to mention is called Perdue from the Lazur collection. This one is number 11. I was only able to get two. There were 3 or 4 that I wanted to try, and these go for pretty cheap online, but some of them are harder to find and more expensive than others. And now this one was the first one that I got, and it was very, very weird, but even from the reviews, it was something I really wanted to check out. So all of these I blind bought them, but I did get them, of course, at a significant discount. Now Perdue number 11 was originally released in 2015. Now, the reviews that I read on it said that this smelled like a balloon, and I can agree with that. The main thing that this fragrance is supposed to represent is the mastery of the perfumer using synthetic notes. And so that's the star of the show here, are synthetic notes, and the only one that's mentioned in here is vanillin. And this one's a very weird scent. It is green to a fault. It's slightly vanillic, and like I said, there aren't any notes listed on this one. And I do get that feel of it was almost like if balloons had flavors, it'd be like a vanilla flavored balloon. But it's very strong, you know, it lasts a long time. You don't need that many sprays. All of these come in 75 ml. I think some of them are, they may all be eau de parfum. I know that the Oud and Amber was parfum, but this one, Lazur Perdue, is eau de parfum. But to me, when I smelt it, it was unique enough, and for some reason I liked it, you know. I like this one a lot. It's a little bit powdery. It's weird in a rubbery type of way, and it's slightly vanilla, but it's not vanilla like any type of vanilla scent that you would think of, like Spiritus Double Vanille or anything like that. So that was one that I picked up. Moving on. The next one is from the same line, the Lazur line. This one is number 13. Weirdly enough, these did not come out in chronological order. Number 13 was released in 2009, and this one is called Treizieme. And so here it is right here. Of the ones I wanted to get based on the notes and the reviews, these were the only 2 that I was able to get. The other ones were not available. I even went to the Cartier store to at least try to smell one of the other ones that I wanted, but they didn't have it either. This one I wanted to get because it is supposed to be like a leathery scent. Again, this one was released in 2009. This one does give you notes though. This one has birch, mate, leather, vanilla, patchouli, bergamot. And so I'm trying to think what this one reminds me of. Oh yeah, it is similar to Cuir de Russie, but it's not a replacement for it at all. It does have a very similar leather note. The leather note and the birch tar together do give you a leather note reminiscent of Cuir de Russie, but it's not as well done. There are like no florals in it or anything like that. It does have bergamot, a little bit of patchouli. It's not very animalic, but this one is a nice one. But of the two from the Leisure collection, I kind of like the number 11 more, because it's just unique to me for some reason. And this one, like I said, it does remind you a little bit of Cuir de Russie, but not done as well. Let's move on to the next one. The last one I will mention from the house of Cartier, this one is from a line I believe called the Pure line. So they have like Pure Magnolia, Pure Rose, and this one is called Pur Muguet. And this one is a Lily of the Valley scent. Now there was a Muguet in the Hermes line that was discontinued. I almost was going to get that one when I, silly enough, was going to spend money on it. And unfortunately, they did not have it, so I'm happy about that. Now, this one is a Lily of the Valley scent. Lily of the Valley is, from the little bit that I've read and listened about it, is a white floral, but it's one that cannot be, the scent of it cannot be distilled, so it can only be replicated by accords and notes. And so this one only lists Lily of the Valley and green notes in it. It opens up very, very green, very grassy, but then it mellows down to a more, I guess, palatable green scent. Like right now in the opening, it just almost just smells like grass. It sort of reminds me of how I felt about Diptyque's the fig one. I cannot think of the name of it at the moment. It sort of reminds me of that one. That one opened up very, very green, but then it transitions into a beautiful, like, creamy, like, fig note. Whereas this one, it just becomes less green, but it keeps that white floralness to it. This one is not for everybody. Pur Muguet is not for everyone, but it was one that I wanted to pick up. I at least wanted to have like one representation of different types of notes in my collection. Sandalwood, which I'm not a big fan of. I want something that represents that. Different types of floral, jasmine, so on and so forth. So that's why I picked this one up. This one seems to be a little bit harder to find, even though it's not like discontinued or anything. I'm sure you could buy it on the Cartier website, but it's not one that people have for sale on eBay. A lot of these Cartiers from all the different lines could go anywhere from $100 to $200. They go for pretty cheap, and the retail on them is like almost $3. So those are the three that I wanted to mention from Cartier. Let's keep it moving. Next up, from the house of Amouage. This is one I will not go too much into any of the notes. Maybe I will a little bit. And this is from the Aqor line, the most recent Aqor line. And I only have one representation of the bottle because I don't have the bottles of the rest of them. These are quite expensive. The retail on them is about $600, which is crazy. So I got these for a super steal. Here's one representation. This is Oud Ulya. I did keep the bottle of this one. All of the other ones, I just put them in decanter roller balls because these are all one toller, so they're 12 milliliters. I don't need all 12 milliliters, so I put them in like 5 ml, which I'll show you. And then the rest of them I just gave to my friend. Now, as a disclaimer, if you are ever interested in buying these, because they are on eBay for cheaper prices, but I just wanted to tell you retail on them. They have these really cool stoppers. If you see the design, it has a really cool design, but some of them are very, very faulty. This one works really well, and that was the first one I got. But when I got the rose one and I was trying to open it, it broke. And I had a similar thing happen to with some of the other ones, Saffron and whatnot. So Oud Ulya, I'll just tell you a little bit about them. I believe they were all released in 2021. This one is done by Cecile Zerokian. This one has oud, birch tar, castoreum, vanilla, and civet as some of the notes. And that's why I was really, really wanted to get this one. Because I thought it was going to be very animalic and fecal and whatnot. But to me, it's more of a leathery scent than anything else. It does have the oud there, but the main stars in this are the birch tar, the castoreum. Those are the main things. When it dries down, maybe you get a little bit of vanilla. It's really, really harsh. It is very similar to silver oud. And they do mention that as far as when you look up the upvotes on Fragrantica, what it reminds you of. And so this one, it wasn't as great as I thought it would be. But let's see some of the other ones. The next one is Incense Rori. So these are the bottles that I put them in. These little rollerball bottles. That's going to give you better distribution. And like I said, a lot of them, the design on those were very faulty. When the first one worked really well, I was like, oh, this is pretty awesome. Then when the next one broke, and even the subsequent ones, they were very tricky. I wasn't a fan of them. And I saw on another person's video them mentioning them as well. And these are very, very expensive to play around with people's money like that. So Incense Rori, this one was perfumed by Julian Rasquinet. So those are like the stars, I guess, at Amouage. I don't know if Julian Rasquinet is still there. I don't follow perfumers' careers like that. Incense Rori only lists 3 notes: oak moss, olibanum, which is frankincense, and cedar. This one, my wife was not a fan of. It's not the best incense fragrance. It's not horrible, but to be honest, I'm not a big fan of Julian Rasquinet's work. So when I see that he's done something, it's not something. It is not a fragrance that I would want to hop on. But these, I was getting them at such a steal that I just wanted to get as many of them as I could, and I really love incense. This one's just okay. My wife hated it though, so there you have it. Next one is Rose Aqor. So this one is probably my favorite. This one was perfumed by Cecile Zarokian. It has rose, frankincense, labdanum, sandalwood in it. This is probably my favorite one. Some people on Fragrantica said that it reminded them of Epic 56. I can see it a little bit, but I'm more of a fan of this than I am of Epic 56. I did have it, but a lot of people love Epic and Epic 56, but it isn't for me. It's nice though. And so this one's probably my favorite. Let me see what's next. The next one is Vanilla Barka, which was perfumed by Dominic Ropion. On this one, it has vanilla, frankincense, tonka bean. People say that it reminds them of Baby Cat, and I could see that. I could see this being really popular if the price wasn't as bad as it is. I'm not big on vanilla scents. However, I wanted to pick this one up, and it does have frankincense in it and tonka bean, which I really like a lot. But the rose for me is my favorite, and we'll go on to the last one. The last one is Saffron Hamra. I didn't have a matching bottle. I still had one of these. So again, they were all released in 2021. This one has saffron, cade oil, and rose. This would probably be my second favorite. Then I would say maybe the vanilla after that. But so again, I put these in these 5 ml. So I got rid of 12, 7 ml I gave away of each of them to one of my friends, just because this is all that I need, and I got it for such a steal that was pretty much it. I know I couldn't go through a tola of all of those with the other fragrances that I have, so I got those at a super steal. Let's move on to the next thing. This was one of my most recent purchases. This was one that I never thought that I would own. It wasn't one that I was searching for because I have the Tonka version. This one is Shalimar Millésime Iris. And the only thing I don't like is that the only way that you know that it is whichever one is by looking at the bottom. And on the bottom it says Millésime Iris. The colors are different, but on the front it doesn't say anything different. I don't own the original Shalimar. I never have. But I have Iris now, and I have Tonka, and these have long been gone and sold. And I think this one came out after Tonka. Tonka came out in 2022, and I remember selling a couple of them thinking that they would be available, and then they just disappeared. But I was lucky enough with the same plug to come up on another bottle, so I'm going to hold on to that one. And I was going to get rid of this, but my buddy that I asked, he didn't want it, so I said I'll keep it. I don't really have an iris in my collection, so I'll just hang on to this one. So I'm happy I got this one for a steal. Let's move on. The next two are the same fragrance. They're from the Guerlain Extrait line, from their Guerlain. All of them, all of the flavors, all the different notes have flown through my hand. The tonka, which is great, vanilla, jasmine, what else is there? Iris, rose. I forgot I sold the rose one. But this one I just had to keep because the prices on these are so ridiculous, and all of them cost the same price, just like with the 100 or 200 ml Art Material line. If it's a freshie, it's $5.80. If it's a heavier scent, it's $5.80. So these are the same. So the freshie one was the Bergamote, and this one is the one that I believe is the one not worth the money because it is a fresh scent, but it's so good. It's so good. So I got 2 bottles of this one. So I can have 100 ml of it. It is great. It's great. They were all released in 2023. This one has bergamot, of course, bergamot leaf, amber, guaiac wood, and this is like a woody citrus scent. But to me, it's just done to perfection for a summer scent. Even at what I paid, not really based on the market, before 100 ml, still is pricey, and it was way under retail. But I was like, let me just go ahead and get 2. I got rid of the rest of them, but this was one I had to keep in my collection, and that's why I got 2 bottles of it. This is an awesome citrus scent. If you're ever in there and you should try out this Extrait collection, but definitely try the bergamot one. This one I fell in love with, and since I had the plug on this one, I had to go ahead and pick these one up before it was over. One last one. And the last fragrance I want to mention isn't a spray fragrance. This one is a body oil. I do have the Chanel as exclusive, the 1957 in the body oil, which I got some time ago. I wasn't planning on getting Coromandel. I got it for someone else. They didn't want it, so I was like, I'll just keep it. And this one is the Coromandel body oil. These cost, I believe, 1957 when they first dropped. I paid retail for 1957. They're $350. So it's obviously not what I paid for this. I got this for less than 50% off. This one is a tester bottle, so that's cool. I haven't tried it. Yet. I believe I'm going to wear it tomorrow for the first time. But I did fall in love with Coromandel. I love it a lot. I did get a bottle of this for one of my buddies, but this bottle is mine. And these body oils are good for me. I found it best for me just to put them on after a shower, moisturize after a shower, going to bed. Not necessarily as far as layering. Tomorrow I'll probably try to layer it with the Parfum and just see how it does. But that's pretty much it, guys. So the last one is this Coromandel body oil, and so that's it. Those are the last few fragrances that I got for the plugs I've met haul. What are some of the fragrances? Do you have someone where you live where you're able to get deals on fragrances? Living in the Middle East, for me, this has been like the most beneficial thing. It's not just this, but it could be other things as well. But this is just one of the hobby that I got into, as I've said before, because fragrance is such a big part of the culture in the Middle East. People are just love scents, love perfumes. Everywhere you go, you see it. So that's how I got into the hobby. But also here, there's different types of regulations. Just like if you go to China or go to Thailand or whatever, you can go and buy all these bootleg Louis Vuittons and whatnot. But here you can get a lot of fake fragrances, but there's also a chance to get authentic fragrances on what they call the gray market, and you can go in and get things in person. That's what I like as far as the hunt. Like if I get something, say I got a vintage fragrance that I couldn't find, like my Mitsukos I got from Japan, buying them online to me is not, it doesn't satisfy that thrill of the hunt than going in to different shops and picking up things in person or finding certain gems that might be discontinued in certain areas of the world. So that's it, guys. Please let me know if you have any plugs in your area, people that bless you with certain things. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Peace.